Okay, so we're going to start tonight the second half of chapter 1. So, just to recap what we're talking about. We're talking about defining a Tzadik, a Benoni, and a Rasha. And why is this so important? Because as we will see in the first 12 chapters of Tanya, we're talking about the soul of the person. We're talking about who is the person inside of us. In order to be able to know why I do what I do, in order to be able to make me motivated, I need to know who I am. So as we'll learn, there's 10 faculties of the soul, there's 3 elements of brain power, and then the 10 sefirot, which we'll learn in the coming chapters. But for now, it's important to just identify that we're not called, so to speak, by our actions. We are identified, so to speak, by who we are in our essence. And just in a brief nutshell, a Tzadik, a Benoni, and a Rasha. A Benoni, which is the intermediate man, which is what every single one of us can strive to be. A Benoni is somebody who has temptations to do bad. He or she have bad inside of them. And that bad animal soul wants to control the eyes, the mouth, the nose, the ears, to do bad things, to do selfish things. But a Benoni is somebody who's able to have full control over his or her thought, speech, and action. That means you don't do any sins, you don't speak any sins, and you don't think about any sins. Now, a Benoni, it could be he fails. It could be he or she failed, because since you have this temptation to do bad, you could fail. And when you fail, it's okay. I mean, it's not okay, but it's okay. You don't have to kill yourself. You don't have to, go crazy. You don't have to go ballistic. And this is one of the innovations of Tanya. Because until Tanya was introduced, we thought of the person as one person inside of him or her. And it gets you really frustrated, because one day I have this urge to come to a Torah class. And the next morning, I have this tremendous temptation to sin. And who am I? And according to the Tanya, it's okay, you're 2 different people. There's actually 2 different people. You're not schizophrenic. And therefore, when you sin, you tell yourself it's okay, because who sinned? Not me. My godly soul didn't sin. My animal soul sinned. So it's okay, I'll try from now on to make it better. And that's why, by the way, we say every day in our prayers, Slach lanu avinu ki chatanu. Forgive us, God, because we sinned. Now we say that 3 times a day. And sometimes we ask God for forgiveness for the same sin over and over and over and over and over and over and over again 1,000 times. And when you sin, when you say I'm sorry to a friend, the friend will forgive you the first time, the second time, the third time, the fourth time, that's it. Enough. Adkan, enough. But God will forgive you again and again and again, because it's not you who's sinning, it's your animal soul, it's not who you are. And that's a tremendous innovation of the Tanya, Chidush. So let's look at page 23. This is what we say everywhere. The mechza mikre beinu. We learn everywhere that half. If a person does 50% of the time mitzvot and 50% of the time sins, he's considered a Benoni. And if he does 51% good and 49% bad, virov zchuyot mikre tzadik, it's called a tzaddik. Says the Tanya, that's only shem hamushal. It's only like a borrowed name. Le'inyan schar v'onish. If you want to know if to punish you or to reward you, so we'll tell you, you're defined by your actions. Because we say, what are you doing mostly? You call the tzaddik in your judgment. If you won the case, you're a tzaddik. If you lose the case, you're a rasha. But if you want to talk about the truth, if you want to talk about who you really are, who am I? So then we have the definition of the Tanya. Who are you inside? I want to know. Are you a tzaddik? And that's why the Tanya is about to say there's very few tzaddikim in the world. There's only 36 tzaddikim in the world. Because to be truly a tzaddik means either you've killed your yetzer hara or you're born without a yetzer hara. But there's very few people like that. But 99% of people are Benoni. So in order to define truly what they are, Tzadik only has a Yetzer Tov who determines his actions. Yetzer Tov is his judge. He doesn't have a Yetzer Hara. Yetzer tov shoftim. Shenemar, as it says, v'libi, King David says, v'libi chalal bekirbi. My heart is empty inside of me. Chalal. What does it mean, my heart is empty? His heart, which is the animal soul, is empty. There's no animal soul. There is no ability to do bad because he killed it. By the way, how do you kill it? How do you kill Yetzer Hara? How do you kill it?
You don't follow it?
Overcoming it, like not doing the...
So the Tanya says, "She'ein lo Yetzer Hara ki harago b'ta'anit." He killed him by fasting.
Tzadik is fasting?
Ta'anit is fasting. So let's just analyze this for a second. Let's talk about it for a second. In today's day and age, in the olden days, if you did a sin, you fasted. You know that there's some fasts, some sins that it says you need to fast like 84 times for them. Some sins. 84 fasts for them. So think about that. You're going to fast 2-3 times a week. I mean, for these sins, and we do sins. I mean, how many sins do we do? A lot of sins, right? Mm-hmm. So we'd be we'd be dead. I mean, we'd be fasting. Al-Ba'im Yom, he wasn't really fasting. He didn't have any need for food. Moshe Rabbeinu on the mountain. But in the olden days, like King David fasted. He fasted and fasted and fasted. Today's day and age, Chassidut explains, we don't want you to fast. We don't want you to fast because you're going to break your body, because our bodies are weak, and we don't want you to fast. So if you do a sin, what do? Specifically, tzedakah. Today, if you do a sin, give charity. Give charity till it hurts you, give charity, and give more charity. But in the olden days, there was no issue. You just, if you sinned, you fasted. So, what happens is, as we'll learn soon, the source of bad is the eye. The eye. And the more you subdue your eye, the more you allow God into your life. As we will learn literally in a few lines, one of the biggest chidushim in Tanya is the following. You think of religion as, there's 613 commandments. Of these 613 commandments, by the way, most of them are not applicable. Most are only applicable in Israel, and most are applicable only when Mashiach comes, Bizman Shebeit HaMikdash Kayam, when the temple is around. But today, there's a handful of mitzvot, and most of the mitzvot are negative. So for example, if you didn't kill today, you did a mitzvah. If you didn't steal today, you did a mitzvah. So there's 365 negative commandments, there's 248 positive commandments. Out of those 248, most are not applicable today. So there's 60, 70, 80 mitzvot today. That's it. That's all there is. But let's say you're a good person and you keep Shabbat and you keep kosher, right? You keep kosher, you light Shabbat candles, right? What else do we do? Go to shul, you daven, you pray,
Yes.
you modest, and if you're a guy, you put on tefillin. But then you tell yourself, okay, so I prayed in the morning, and now it's 10 a.m., I'm going to work, it's now my time. We have this concept of me time. Now it's me time. I'm pampering myself. God, I was with you today, this morning. Now it's me. And then you go on with your day. And at night, if you're a man, you have an obligation to daven Mincha Ma'ariv and go to a Torah class. Fine, but there's a couple of hours that I do. It says Shabbat. God, I'll give you Shabbat. I won't have my phone on Shabbat, but Shabbat afternoon, me time. I was in shul this morning. I want to rest now. I want to just do whatever I want. I want to go on my walk. I want to go on my Peloton. I want to go to a Pilates class. I want to just do nothing. I want, especially men. Men are very good at this. Just do nothing. Women don't even understand what that means. Like, do nothing, right? So, what does that mean? Is that? So, according to Torah, there's no such thing. There's no such thing. As we'll learn the concept now, something called sitra acha. Sitra acha means the other side, meaning like this: you either for me, God, or you for yourself, or you for the other side. You either for me or for Kipa, which is the other side. You either serving me every moment of the day, or you are the impure forces. There's no in between. There's no such a thing as, I'm just having a little vacation now from everything. I'm just doing, In other religions, you go to the mosque Friday, you go to the church Sunday, and that's it. That's your obligation. No, Judaism says 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. You are mine, says God. You belong to me. I want you to humble yourself in front of me. I want you to serve me 24 hours a day. When Eliezer, the servant of Abraham, came to find a shidduch for his master Yitzchak and Abraham, right? He comes to Betuel and he says, I won't eat until I say my matter. Okay, start talking. What is the first thing he says? Vayomer, before he starts his spiel, before he starts everything, Eved Avraham Anochi. You want to know who I am? I am a servant of Abraham. Who you? Everything about me. My essence, I'm a servant. I'm a slave to Abraham. Every speech that I make is Abraham. Every action that I take is how do I serve my master? That is a Jew. A Jew, we are servants to God. As it says in the Torah, Ki avadayhem. They are my servants which I took out of Egypt. And being a servant of God means that 24 hours a day, 365 days a year for your entire life, every action you do is either for me or for the impure forces. There is no in between. Which is a very empowering thing. It's a very empowering thing because first of all, God is with you all the time. Everything you do, God is with you. But it's a game changer in terms of what religion means. Every action that I take. So if you go running in Central Park, if you're running because you want to, show that you are strong and whatever, you want to show you have some muscles, I don't know what, that is impure forces. But if you're running to keep healthy because your cholesterol is high, you don't want to die young, that's a mitzvah. That's for God. You're doing that for God. And every mitzvah that you look at, every action you look at, do I want to you want to sleep now for 7 hours or 8 hours at night? So if I view it that I want to just rest because I need to wake up refreshed so I can serve God, that is God. That is part of your divine service. But if you sleep for yourself, how do you sleep for yourself? Just because you're tired and you just want to now enjoy my sleep without any, that's impure forces. Yes.
What about the whole theory of accidentally doing a mitzvah? What if you say come to shiur for the free food, but then you learn it? Does that? That's
100% mitzvah. That's perfect. In fact, Chabad, every rabbi knows how do you attract people with food. You don't have food, you want to attract people. End of story.
Right, but I guess does that just relating it into this?
That's serving God.
Got it. Okay, got
it.
Yeah. Thank you.
With that actually question, so what I've understood from what you said is kavanot halev, the intentions, the pure intentions. Where is my intention? If I'm going to sleep for this reason or for that reason. But if that's the case, my kavanot halev are not actually pure, I should say. So where is the kavanot halev?
The Baal Shem Tov says in Tehillim, King David says, Re'evim gam tzmeim nafsham ba'im titataf. Means hungry and thirsty, they put their souls in it. Okay? The simple explanation is, let's look at it. If somebody's hungry and thirsty, right? You eat pizza. Why do you eat pizza? Well, why do you eat a steak in a restaurant? Why? Why not, right? Why not? Because it's tasty. It's good. It's tasty. If you eat it because it's tasty, that's serving the impure forces. Mm-hmm. If you eat it because it's tasty, if you eat it because you indulge in a steak because it's your thing, that is impure forces. Okay. What you should do is you should eat the steak because God, you're enjoying the pleasures of this world, and you're able to. It says bisra the Torah. Meat, steak, malchivim dato. It makes you, smarter. It makes you more of a vessel to understand Torah. So it says, yeah. It says Rabbi would always start off his Torah class with a joke, actually, But he says specifically wine and meat, is good for your mind to absorb Torah. But the Baal Shem Tov says like this: Re'evim gam tzmeim. You know why they are hungry. You know why they are thirsty. You know the real reason. In other words, a Jew, he may not even be aware of it, but you know why he's doing it? Nafsham bahem titataf. His soul wants to wrap itself around the steak. His soul wants to elevate the steak by saying a bracha, blessing over the steak. You are elevating the steak. This pizza now, if it's helping us study the Tanya, we are elevating the pizza. The pizza is becoming holy. The cow, the cheese, whatever, it's becoming holy. It's being elevated. Mm-hmm. So even if it's accidentally, still our souls are keenly aware of it.
So we're serving God even if it's accidentally?
Yes.
Got it, okay.
But then kavanot halev is not pure.
Unless you're doing it for the wrong reason. Unless you're specifically doing it because you want to just enjoy the steak, just to enjoy it. there's levels. In other words, unintentional level, of course you need to be intentional. You need to do every mitzvah with love and fear of God. You need to light Shabbat candle and feel a love for God. But even if you don't, it's fine. You're still doing the act of a mitzvah of lighting Shabbat candles.
Okay.
It's perfectly okay. Okay? So, whoever didn't arrive at the level of a tzaddik, even though he or she does 51% or more mitzvot, he's not on the level of a tzaddik. And therefore Razal say in the Medrash, God saw that there are tzaddikim, that there are very, very few of them in the world, so he planted them in every generation. So this is the idea of a tzaddik, a Benoni, and a Rasha. We should have a very, very clear definition in the first half of chapter 1 of Tanya, what it means tzaddik, what it means a Benoni, what is a Rasha. Specifically for our purposes, we need to know that we have a dormant bad inside of us. It's sleeping, it's dormant, but it can wake up at any moment. And therefore, just like an addict, if you have a heroin addict or any addict, so if they go to the 12-step program, they become clean. They can become clean for 50 years. But every single week, they need to go to a sponsor, they need to go to an addict place, because the addiction is there. And it can wake up in a second. And it's the same thing with us. Our sinning, our desire to do bad is there, and it's dormant. We're in control over it. But if you think for 1 second that you will stop and everything's in front, no, it's not. It's like a wrestling competition. It's 24 hours. Tanya chapter 9 actually describes this, that the world is compared to a wrestling competition. Okay, you have a wrestling game inside of you 24 hours a day. Who's going to control my eyes? Is my animal soul going to control my eyes, or is my godly soul going to control my eyes? Are my eyes going to study the Tanya, or my eyes going to look at, you know what? It's a wrestling game. And if for one moment you think you've won, you'll be knocked out that moment. Mm-hmm. That's what the battle is. 24 hours a day, your whole entire life. Okay, you got it so far? Okay, now we'll come to a beautiful, beautiful piece. And I want to explain.
Rabbi, I actually have one question.
Yeah.
Just back to the lighting Shabbat candles. Could anyone light Shabbat candles for the wrong reasons? What would an example of that be?
So when I say the wrong reasons, I'm talking about something which is neutral. Neutral means going for a walk. Neutral means eating.
I see.
But if you do a mitzvah, that's not neutral. That is by definition a mitzvah.
Okay.
So the act is a mitzvah. You need to ideally refine it with feeling.
Got it.
But just the very act is a mitzvah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay, we'll get now to a beautiful piece of Tanya. And again, there's innovations here, and I'll point them out to you. But we're going to learn a concept called Sitra Achra. I'm sorry, Kipa. Anybody heard of Kipa?
Yeah.
Okay, what is Kipa?
I mean,
The Hasidic the explanation. The Tanya, I'm saying the Tanya part.
I think it's connected to the word klipa.
Yep.
We all are need to לקלף את הקליפות.
Very good.
להגיע לאמת.
Very good.
Your,
I will, what?
Your avero create bad things in the world. Your avero are basically the klipas.
Okay.
I don't know if it's the translation.
Okay, let's take it and analyze it and bring it down to 2025. Okay? Because Tanya is talking to us in 2025. And 2026 and 27 and forever. Klipa, the literal translation of klipa, is a peel. So if you take a banana, you have the banana, but you have the peel, which is protecting the banana. You can't eat the peel. But when you want to eat the banana, you take the peel off and you eat it. Now, what happens if you transport the banana from Mexico or from Florida or from wherever it is, and you transport it without the peel? Within a few hours, kaput, you're not going to eat this banana. So the peel protects the banana. Now, you have different layers of peels. For example, you have a peel of an apple, which is edible. You could eat it. It's still a peel, but it's edible. So, the impure forces are called Sitra Achra. I'm sorry, Kipa. Because the Tanya, Kipa and Sitra Achra. Kipa. The soul, we have two souls. The second soul, the godly soul, is chapter 2. We're not talking about it tonight. We're talking about the regular soul of every human being. Now, Okay, let's read it inside a second. Achbiru Einyan al pi ma shekatuv Rav Chaim Vital Zal Shara Kedusha. The L'chol Ish Yisrael, every single Jew has Echad Tzadik Ve'echad Rasha, whether he's a Tzadik or Rasha, Yeshtei Neshamot has two souls. Tichsivu Neshamot Ani Asiti, I'm created two souls. Shen Shtei Nefashot, which are two souls. One soul, we're going to explain in chapter 2. The other soul right now. Listen carefully. Nefesh Achas, Mitzad Klipa V'Sitra Achra. One soul is from the Klipa and Sitra Achra. What does that mean? Let's analyze. Klipa is a shell. Now, what would happen if you would describe to me and tell me that you ate the peel and discarded the banana? Would that be normal? It doesn't make sense. Why would you take the peel and discard it and eat it? It needs to be discarded. And in life, we have something called the peel, and we have something called substance. The godliness is the banana. And the peel is the klipa, is the impurity in the world which covers over godliness. It covers it over. Okay, think about that for a second, because I'm going to bring it down even more. I'm going to explain it even more. Okay, but think about that. So you have the godly matter, and then you have the klipa, which surrounds it. This soul is basically lives in your blood system, where it makes the body live. This soul is in the blood. Okay? But let's think about this. We live in a world where, let's talk about a journalist as an example. Any journalist, I don't care if it's the right wing or the left wing, is supposed to give you the news. Convey the news. So if Iran and Israel are fighting or whatever, the conveyor of the news. By making the journalist into an item, into a celebrity, into somebody we look up to, that is eating the peel. Because the journalist is only a peel, conveying to you what's going on. Does that make sense? By worshipping celebrities, that is the same idea as eating the peel. Because what is celebrity? An actor, right? An actor is somebody who is just acting. There's a script written by somebody. The guy behind it is the guy with the brains. The guy behind it is writing and thinking and innovating and doing the whole concept. And the guy acting is just acting out what somebody else's lines are. He has to learn it by heart. And by you worshipping this celebrity, that's eating the peel. We live in such a dark world where the marketing is just being worshipped. It's not true. It's not real.
Can you give another example?
Yes, I'm doing this slowly so it gets into your head, sinks in. Yes.
I love this.
Are there any rabbis that you guys like?
The Rebbe, the Rabbi.
Rabbis. I'm talking about rabbis now.
Rabbi Yeye. Like a famous one?
Okay, so let's talk about rabbis.
Shay Tao.
Okay, very good. A rabbi, if he is doing his job well, is a conduit. The greatest rabbis are completely and utterly nullified in front of Hashem, and they just convey to you God's wisdom. They connect you to God. But the moment you say, oh, that's a good rabbi, that's great rabbi, he gave a good speech, he gave a good Torah class, that is already attributing something to the rabbi that already means the rabbi is not doing his job properly. That's the peel, that's the klipa. The rabbi is just surrounding the holiness. The rabbi is surrounding and giving you the words of the Tanya. But if you take the rabbi and say, oh, the rabbi said this and that, that's already wrong. The rabbi is just a conduit. And the greatest rabbis are the most humble there are. Who's the greatest rabbi of all? Moses. What does the Torah attribute his greatest virtue? Moshe Rabbeinu anav mikol adam. He was the most humble person in the universe. Because when you saw Moses, you looked straight through him and you saw God. That meant Moses was doing his job well. But if you worshipped Moses, that's Kipa. Forget about Avodah Zarah. It's idol worship. But that's Kipa. That surrounds the inner thing, God. Does that make a little more sense? Mm-hmm. To take us even further. The soul of all of us is rooted in Kipa. Mm-hmm. And therefore, naturally, we all look at the world and we believe the media and the glitz, and we are taken aback, we are astounded by the world, we're like wowed and blown over by the world. Look at all the ads that feature about Coca-Cola, about anything and everything. Look at the ads that appear on your Instagram and your Facebook all day long. We're like taken aback and we're like, ooh, amazing. Those ads are Kipa. They're the glitz. They're the media. They're not the real thing. Shekel, it's lies. Think about this. Hamas puts out a video of our hostages starving like skeletons in the Holocaust. And nobody cares. But what do they care about? A child who's Muhammad, and they spread this picture in the New York Times, and the whole world believes it. The whole world believes lies. Why? Because the world's soul is rooted in Kipa, in the shell, and they can't see the truth. How is it that the world are such idiots that they just don't get it? They don't understand that Hamas is lying to them. How do they not get it? Because their soul is rooted in Kipa. Kipa means the shell, the peel. And they don't see what's inside. They don't see the emet. They don't see the truth. They just don't see it. If you ever wonder why, this is the reason. Because they naturally gravitate towards the shell. The shell is the lies of the world. And we believe them.
So is Kipa lies?
It's also lies, but it's the translation of the Kipa is the peels, the shell.
Okay.
How could it be that you have atheists, people who tell you, I do not believe in God, and they come to shul? How could it be? By the way, ask a guy in church on Sunday, do you believe in God? What's he going to say? I said, yes. Well, what do you think I'm doing here? What do you think I'm doing? Ask a guy on Friday in the mosque, do you believe in God? Say yes. Ask a Jew on Yom Kippur in shul, do you believe in God? What's he going to say?
Definitely.
He'll say exactly what you're all saying. One guy will say yes, one guy will say no, one guy will say depends. Most Jews will say, I don't know, it depends, I don't know. So ask him, what are you doing in shul on Yom Kippur? He says, what do you mean, it's Yom Kippur? And how is that not a contradiction? Because of the soul. Meaning, the natural soul, the soul that we just learned about now, we're just starting to learn about, the natural soul is rooted in Kipa. It's rooted in those lies, it's rooted in that. A Jew has an inner dimension, a godly soul inside of him or her, which yearns for the emet. But that godly soul is covered by the animal soul, it's covered by the Kipa. And therefore, what we do at Chabad, for example, is we try uncover and discover and peel away the peel and bring out the emet. That's why we believe in Jews. That's why we believe that Jews are good people. Because who's bad? The peel. But peel away the peel. Take away that shell and the guy will be good. I have a guy this week who called me. And he's an atheist. He never ever comes to shul. Never ever comes to shul. And he called me and he says, I'm a Kohen and I want to marry a convert. Okay? Orthodox convert. So halachically Jewish. Can a Kohen marry a convert?
No.
Why not? Because a Kohen is an exalted person. So I said, can I marry a convert? And I'm thinking to myself, isn't this amazing?
Yeah.
This is incredible. The guy doesn't believe in God. He doesn't. He tells me he doesn't believe in God. By the way, he puts on tefillin every day, this guy now. Which is amazing. We worked it out, whatever. I'm very close to him. I consider this guy a real good friend of mine. But he doesn't believe in God. Does put on tefillin. But it's amazing, because there's an animal soul and there's a godly soul, and there's two different beings inside of us every moment of the day. I always tell the story of, the Chabad started on 94th Street, and the guy basically gave it to us for free for 10 years, this 13,000 square foot place where we had all our events and parties, and we had a beautiful show there. And, I became very friendly with this guy. The first time I came to him, he actually kicked me out of his office. He said, Rabbi, what do you want? I said, I need a space for Rasha and Kipa to do services. And the guy literally kicked me out. And I came again. And he said, what are you doing here? I said, I need a space for Rasha. He said, if you come again, I'll call the police. And I came again 2 weeks later. And he said, Rabbi, you're so crazy. I've never made anything like this. What do you want? I said, I need a space for Rasha and Kipa. He said, you're so crazy, you got it. That's what he said to me. Anyway, we became very, very close. But he's a complete atheist. And many, many years later, I asked him, why did you give us a space? And he said, as you know, I don't believe in God. I don't come to shul even Yom Kippur when you offer me free aliyah, which other shuls you tell me pay $100,000 for it. You give it to me for free. I won't do it. I don't believe in God. But if I die, when I die, one day, and if I come in front of this being called God, which I don't believe in, you do, and there's 0.001% that this God will ask me, did I ever do a mitzvah? I'll tell him I gave Vigler a synagogue. That is the animal soul concealing and covering over his emes. What is his emes? What is his truth? His godly soul. But the animal soul is a shell, is a peel covering over the emet, the truth. You guys get it? Make sense?
Yeah.
I'll tell you one more story along these lines. I was sitting in my sukkah, I don't know, maybe 7 years ago. And a guy walks in the middle of Yom Tov. Guy I'm friendly with. He brings his friend. He said, we have a massive problem. This guy's friend, the father just died. And the family wants to cremate him. And the mother was a scientist. Wants to cremate her husband. So, according to New York law, the wife decides, right? She's a spouse, she decides. So they're sitting in my sukkah, the mother and the child, and I'm giving them every single argument in the book why they cannot do cremation. Doing cremation is a tremendous pain for the soul. Tremendous pain. Because the soul lives on. And you cannot cremate your soul, your body. So I'm giving them every single argument, starting from, when Mashiach comes, the body's going to be rebuilt, and all the pain for the soul. Every argument, I see my words are falling on deaf ears. So I go outside the sukkah for a second, and I say to God, please help me here. I've never actually been successful, to be honest with you, after a person has died, convincing the family to not do cremation. The only success I've had is way before, when the guy's 50 or 60, convincing him not to do cremation, because that's the only thing that works. So I prayed to God. I said, please, God, help me. Please, just this mitzvah. I've spent for 2 hours. Wonderful Jew. Anyway, I came back, and she said no. 3 days later, they called me to do the funeral, which I went to do. And I asked them after the funeral, what made you change your mind? She said, listen, Rabbi, nothing you said made sense to me. I'm a scientist. I don't believe in God. None of these arguments made any sense. But, my mother-in-law said a statement to me. She said, I brought the child into the world, my husband, into the world. I feel like I have a right. I should decide how he should leave the world. And I want him buried, not cremated. So she said, because of that, I'll do it. And I realized then that it was her soul. That's the neshama. This is a woman who she has full rights over her husband. She can decide whatever she wants. All my arguments fell on deaf ears because that was the animal soul, that was the peel. But at the end of the day, what happened was her godly soul shone. And she said, okay, I'll listen to that argument. Fine, I'll listen to that. That's the soul. Yeah.
What about tattoos? Because I feel like it's very similar. And that's obviously the Kipa, but it's when you said that, I'm like, what about tattoo? What is nobody stops the tattoo?
Tattoos is exactly what we're talking about in the Tanya. It's exactly the subject matter of our class. What is tattoos? Are you allowed to put a tattoo on yourself? So somebody putting a tattoo on says to himself or herself, this is my body. I can do what I want, when I want, how I want. If I want to tattoo the name of my children or the name of my girlfriend or anything else, I can do with my body no matter what I want. Says God, it's not your body. You belong to me. Remember what we learned a few minutes ago? You belong to me. You are my servant. You belong to me. Everything about you belongs to me. Every action, every thought, every speech. You are a Jew 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. There's no such thing as you could do what you want. It doesn't exist. You are mine. You belong to me. So tattoos, of course, cannot be, because God gave us our bodies on loan for 70, 80 years. And after 80 years, He wants the body back, intact, the way He gave it to us. So that's the answer. Got it? By the way, the cantor in the synagogue stands with his back to the congregation. You ever notice that?
Yeah.
The cantor stands. How rude. How rude. Why shouldn't he face the congregation? I think there are some Reform and Conservative temples where he faces the congregation. Isn't that more respectful? Face the congregation. Why face your back towards the congregation? Imagine I'm giving a speech there and I'm facing, talking there. That's what's happening. Literally, I'm talking here. I'm going to give a Tanya class there. You guys look at my head. What? How does that make sense? What's the answer?
He's not speaking to the congregation.
Because he's not speaking to the congregation, he's speaking to God. And you are a conduit. The chazan, the cantor, is a conduit. If you are worshipping the cantor, that is klipa. That is missing the essence.
Right.
There was once a Jew who came to our shul, and he sees the shul looks dilapidated, and it looks like there's no cool $100 million building like other shuls in Manhattan are, like $100 million buildings, and everything looks aesthetically beautiful, and the chandeliers are $50 million, and the lights, and come to Chabad, it's like, because at Chabad, there are no klipot. There are no external things trapping you. The shells, the peels. Now, make no mistake, a shul should look beautiful and you should have 100%, you should do that. But if you get swayed by the cantor and you're coming for the cantor, that's a peel. That's klipa. The cantor is just a conduit to connect you to God. But the moment you come, because the cantor is a cantorial, beautiful, musical, and you love that on Yom Kippur, you go to a Broadway show. What do you go to a Yom Kippur show?
Yeah, he can come for the cantor, like we said earlier, but through that, he's davening.
100%. That's fine. That's fine. By the way, something is with politicians. Let's say I say, Trump, I hate him. I hate Trump. I hate him. I hate him. I hate him. If I say that, or if I say I love Trump, or I love Obama, or I love Biden, or I love the next 2028 guys, if I love any politician or I hate them, the politician is just a klipa. It's just a klipa.
Right.
What do you mean? The politician has no say. It's like going to a doctor and saying, I want the best doctor in the world because the doctor's going to cure me. That's it's idol worship.
Right.
The doctor, the lawyer, the hedge fund, the stockbroker is just a shell. The blessing comes from Hashem. But the moment I worship the shell, that's klipa. That's exactly what we're talking about. Klipa. Klipa means the shell. The doctor, the lawyer that's going to save you from your predicament is a great lawyer and hire the best lawyer. But realize that the lawyer is just a conduit for God's blessing. But the moment you attribute importance to the lawyer, that's klipa. That's avodah zarah.
Mm-hmm.
Got it?
Yeah.
Any job that you do, if you think your boss is the one who's paying you, that's klipa. That's avodah zarah. It's not true.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Would you say when we get married, our shaitals are also the shell? That's why you cover to block from any negative. Isn't like because of this part of the head is like where.
So it says that se'ar be'isha erva. Hair by a woman is erva, is immodest, and therefore you need to cover the hair. A married woman has to cover her hair with a sheitel, with a head covering. It's not really directly related to this. It's a different thing. Yeah, the Rebbe was very, very big into specifically shaitels. Women have to look beautiful. Women have to look the nicest and the best. And we can have a whole shiur about that. Maybe my wife can give that class. But
Yeah, I would really.
you can ask her, ask her if you want to shiur and shade, but specifically shaitels, yes.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna text Shevy.
Okay, so getting back to the text of the Tanya. וממנו באות כל המידות רעות מארבע יסודות רעים שבה. From this soul come all the bad character traits. Everything bad. דהיינו, כעס וגאווה. For example, anger And arrogance, misod ha'esh, shenigba lemala, it comes from the fire, which comes from above. I'm going to go through this a little fast. I just want to get the actual points. Tavat ha'tanugim, which is pleasurable, comes from water. And then you have frivolity, mockery, boasting, comes from the element of air. And atzos misod afal. Okay, but here's where we get back. Even midot tovot, even good character traits in Jews, for example, compassion and acts of kindness, come from this soul. So how could it be? It's an act of kindness, right? Sometimes I give tzedakah. No, it comes from this soul. Kipa Israel, because here we have two kinds of Kipa. Remember I said there's an apple and there's a banana? There's two kinds of Kipa. One is called Shalosh Klipot HaTmeot, 3 levels of impurity, and one is called Klipat Noga, which is Klipa of light. The 3 levels of impurity are, for example, Averot. For example, a pig is 3 levels of impurity, can never be uplifted. For example, a sin that we do, any sin, any one of the 365 negative commandments, any one of those is Shalosh Klipot HaTmeot. They can never be uplifted. You can never say, I'm going to eat a pig and then I'm going to daven with that energy that I got from that pork. That can never work. Because it can never, ever be elevated. But then there's something called Klipat Noga, which is like in between, which belongs to impurity, but it can be elevated. So for example, when you take a steak, you can elevate it. When you go for a run, that's Klipat Noga, you can elevate it. Most of our actions come from Klipat Noga. It's Klipa, it's impurity, but it can be elevated. It's a shell, it's a husk, but it can be elevated. It's layers, it's different, yes, it's 4 levels of impurity. One is Klipat Noga, and one is the 3 levels of impurity.
And U is above U? Like, what is the order?
The Klipat Noga is above.
So it's Klipat Noga is Gashmis things that we make into Rachnis.
Physical things that can be elevated, yes. Yes. But if it's forbidden, for example, Orla, the first 3 years you're not allowed to touch the fruit, that is Shalosh Klipot HaTmeot, 3 levels of impurity, can never be elevated. Or for example, there's so many things which are forbidden, completely forbidden, they can never be elevated. Never, 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 never. Okay? So for a Jew, this soul comes from the good stuff come from this soul. On the other hand, when it comes to a non-Jew, to their soul comes from the 3 levels of impurity. So by a Jew, his soul comes from Klipat Noga, which is impurity, but it could be elevated. But the soul of a non-Jew, or from the other, not Klipat Noga. She'ein baim tov klal, that have no good inside of them. Like it says in there, every good that they do it for themselves. So if they give charity, they do it for themselves. If they do a good deed, it's self-serving. It's not genuine good. Like the Talmud says in the verse, the kindness of the nations is sin. Any kindness that they do is only to take pride. Now, obviously, there are exceptions. Obviously, there are good, kind Gentiles. It says actually the Alter Rebbe, the Baal HaTanya, when he was in prison, he was asked 22 questions by the local the local jailer, who was a very smart man, even a priest, a very, very, very intelligent man. Like one of those questions was, he showed him a map of America. Nobody had really been into America, and the Alter Rebbe says, this street over here, this neighborhood is wrong, there's something off over here. And he asked him, how do you know? They checked it, the Alter Rebbe was right. So Alter Rebbe said, I know everything from the bet of Bereshit. It says in the Torah, Bereshit, in the beginning God created, so from that bet, God created the world, so I know that is wrong. And they asked the Alter Rebbe many questions, and the last question that they asked the Alter Rebbe was, how could you say in the end of chapter 1 that non-Jews have no good? And the Alter Rebbe didn't give an answer, but you know what he did? He gave a big smile. And the guy didn't ask him any more questions. And the Alter Rebbe explained afterwards that the answer was, you asked me 21 questions and I answered them brilliantly, and you saw that I know what I'm talking about. Do you really want me to answer the 22nd question and explain to you how your soul comes from no good? And the guy didn't press it further.
What is soul?
Comes from Shalosh Klipot HaTmeot, from the 3 levels of impurity. So there's a lot of concepts we learned tonight in chapter 1. Just to review some of them in a nutshell. The first concept we learned is about what it means to be a Tzadik, Benoni, and a Rasha. We cannot judge a book by its cover. We cannot say, oh, you look like a good person, therefore you are a good person. There's no such thing. Are you a good person? That's number one. Number two, to be a Jew cannot be when I do a mitzvah, I'm a Jew, but when I'm not in the mood, I'm not a Jew. A Jew is 24 hours a day. We are servants of God. To be a Jew means 365 days a year. Like Eliezer told Betuel, who am I? I am a servant of Abraham. It's got to be recognizable upon me that I'm a servant every single moment of the day. That's what I am. And number three, the concept of Kipa. Kipa is the shell. Our souls are rooted in the peel level, and therefore we have so much gravitation towards the false, fake media and the lies. And the Jew has to pierce through those lies and see the emet, see the truth. Don't look at the journalist, don't look at the politician, don't look at the doctor, don't look at the lawyer, but look what's behind it. And therefore the cantor in the synagogue stands with his back towards us because he's a conduit to connect us to Hashem. Any questions?